Wife Material Podcast, episode 28. Spicing up your sex life. So obviously, that's going to be a factor when you're in a relationship, right? When you're married. Sex is going to be a thing because one, sex is for reproduction. That's my stance on it, is that it's for the purpose of reproducing. First and foremost. Secondarily, okay, it could be, for intimacy, love, whatever, you want to call it, recreation, whatever you want to call it after that. But first and foremost, is for reproduction, right? That's why pregnancy is a thing. It's for reproduction. So in the confines of a marriage, obviously it's to make a family, right? You reproduce to make a family, and then you raise the children, right? Raise the offsprings. But just for intimacy, romance, closeness, and that's why I use the term intimacy specifically, is because it's the idea of just closeness, just constantly reinvigorating y'all love for each other. The fact that y'all like to be around each other, because dealing with daily activities and stress and stuff like that, work related, social situations, somebody could have pissed you off. It's not a good idea to bring that negativity to your partner, right, to your relationship. Always try to keep stress and negativity and stuff like that away from the relationship, right? You're supposed to protect the relationship from that, and that's the responsibility both of the wife and the husband, right? And then, but of course, since y'all are a unit, right, y'all part of the same team, y'all need to be able to help one another emotionally and physically. So that's where, sex and intimacy comes into factor. So just wanted to put out some ideas of things you can do to try to keep things lively, be able to cater to certain desires. Of course, we're all human. We all have there's things we agree with and things we don't agree with, things we're okay with, things we're not okay with, which is why communication is important, right? You want to be in a relationship where your partner knows what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and vice versa. You know what your partner is okay with and what they're not okay with, what they like and what they dislike, right? Because you, as a person that's in a relationship with somebody, you should want them to be happy being with you. You don't want you being with them to be a problem, right? To be, quote unquote, a mistake, or, the worst decision in life. You definitely don't want that. And you don't want your marriage to start, breaking apart just because of that dynamic. That, the whole, we are drifting apart. That only happens if you allow it, right? The drifting apart thing. And typically, women are the ones that tend to drift apart. A man will stay in a shitty relationship for a long, long time. He'll stay in the relationship. Listen to me clearly, ladies. He'll stay in the relationship. I'm not saying that he'll be loyal to the relationship, which means he won't, step out and cheat or whatnot, right? Or look for attention elsewhere. What I'm saying is he'll stay in the relationship while looking elsewhere or being elsewhere. So with females, they tend to want to end the relationship once they no longer want to be in the relationship, right? When they rather be somewhere else or with someone else. That's the difference. Men will stay in a relationship. Women would just leave, right? So because of that, obviously, it's really, really on the women. Most importantly, one of your roles, one of your jobs in the relationship, what you bring to the table, is the ability to keep the love stable, keep the love alive, as they say, right? Y'all the emotional ones, right? So, and this term gets thrown around a lot, emotional intelligence. So that means you need to be the one that's supposed to be heavily focused on emotions, right? Heavily focused on maintaining love and respect in the relationships. That is part of your duties, just like him protecting you, fighting for you, dying for you is part of his duty. Your duties is to love and to be loved. So make sure that you're doing those two things, that you're loving and being loved. So then when it comes to, just sex, right? Just physical activity, things you can do, right? One of the many things you can do is, because I was just thinking, like, if you want some variety, because size matters sometimes, with most women. So if you want some variety, obviously it's up to you if you want to involve another human being. But I have an alternative, so you don't have to involve another human being. It's to involve sex toys, right? Involve strap-ons, right? Dildos and stuff like that of varying sizes, colors and whatnot. Involve sex dolls if you want, that kind of stuff, because it's like that stuff exists. Cosplay, for example, dressing up, in costumes and whatnot to look like a different person. This is a way you can, cater to the fantasies, because that's one of the things that is definitely missing nowadays that used to be a common thing in the past. In the past, wives did do their best to provide their husband the fantasies, because they know their husband has multiple fantasies. They don't just have one, fantasy, just one woman, one desired idea of, being intimate, and that's it, and that's all they are. And then, they become repetitive, monotonous, and stuff like that. That's boring, right? Of course not. A guy's going to be different and try to be, spontaneous, and they're going to want variety, which a lot of times is part of what causes infidelity to occur. And infidelity tends to occur more often, percentage-wise, 60 to 70% accidentally. Like it was just an opportunity to cheat, so then the cheating happened. It wasn't premeditated. It wasn't, oh, I'm unhappy in my relationship, let me go be with another woman. That's not typically why a guy cheats. A lot of times, 60 to 70% of the time, it's opportunity knocked, and they knocked back, right? Unfortunately, obviously, it'd be better for guys to have more self-control, find, try to avoid these situations and temptations and whatnot. But it happens, and there's consequences for that, obviously. But ways you can help try to mitigate those possibilities of it happening more accidentally than deliberate is that you can make it happen deliberately, right? Make it happen where they, your man could be with another woman, if you're okay with that, under your rules, under your conditions. That's what I meant to say. Under your conditions, you are okay with it. If you're not, of course, I'm not saying to be okay with it. What I'm saying is, if you are, you are. I'm not going to assume that, you aren't or are okay with something. It's up to you and your relationship. But it's an idea, an option, right? And that's the thing, is make sure that there's options and that you're okay with the options, right? So the idea is to present the options and bring the options to your husband. So that way, he's not, taking advantage of other options that present themselves. You present the options that you're okay with, that you're comfortable with. So that way he chooses from your options that you're okay with, as opposed to choosing options that somebody else presented and you're not okay with, right? As an example. So there's that kind of stuff. That's why it's important that if your husband, tells you he likes redheads and you're a brunette, well, that's your husband. Do you want him to be happy? Do you want him to have what he likes? If he likes redheads, would you be his redhead, right? That kind of stuff. if he likes, women to wear makeup or not, and the list goes on and on. So the idea is like, do you care about what he likes? And then, work with that. And that's the importance of being in a relationship, right? And that also does apply vice versa, right? That applies for you too. He should be, asking you and doing things for you that makes you happy, that you like, which is important. But this is why, it's important to make sure, especially since you're the emotional one of the relationship, that you're in charge of that, right? You're the leader of that aspect, right? Because the one who tends to get more emotionally hurt, more heartbroken from, certain activities, certain indiscretions, is women more than men. So that's why it's very important for women to definitely, be the leader when it comes to emotional things. So make sure you're not allowing a lot of stuff to happen that would cause emotional distress to yourself and to the family, right? That's why it's important that if your husband's very stressed out, very emotional, it is your wifely duty to mitigate that, to fix that. There's a term for it, old school term, sexual healing, right? Among other things, just talking, can work. Just being there can help, alleviate stress and whatnot, and emotional factors. Because men have emotions, so that's why it's important that you provide us that emotional support for when we start losing control of our emotions, because we're supposed to have control of our emotions, so our emotions don't control us. But once we start losing control, Hulk style, basically, right? Where we're getting mad about things, you're supposed to be the one that can calm us down. You definitely should not be the one that pisses us off, right? That makes things worse. We all know what Hulk always says: "You won't like me when I'm angry." So we definitely don't like men when they're angry. That's emotion. And that's an emotion that leads to violence. Let's reduce that emotion. So it's definitely not good for men to be emotional, because most emotions are usually negative anyway. If you look at the different types of emotions that exist, that we have words for, you would notice there's more negative emotions than there are positive emotions. Just by words, just by the different descriptions of emotions, we have more negative emotions than we have positive. Therefore, the whole idea of it's okay to be emotional, express your feelings. No. Because I'll say 80% of the time, the feeling, the emotion is going to be negative. And we don't want negative emotions expressed. We don't want negativity in this world, right? So that's why it's important to not get emotional. That's why we have to have more self-control. So that's why, I bring up to the fact that it's like, ladies, you gotta be the emotional leader, while the man, of course, is the leader, right? He's the one who makes sure y'all safe. He's responsible for y'all resources, for the path that you're going to live, among other things. The whole generational wealth thing. So he has to be responsible for planning out your future. For the future for you, as his wife, for the children. It's very important to have all these factors, being taken care of. You need someone to lead, someone to make sure that everything goes according to plan. So that's his job. Your job is to take care of everything else, the logistics, right? Help with budgeting, help with the kids, help with the house, right? Help in any other capacity you can help with. If you can help with the business, whatever he's into, that's all, important, because you're all in it together. And typically, by default, guys, they build stuff, right? They go out there and they do things to try to get as much money as possible, right? So they can build a life. And once they have that life, they want to share it. That's why it's weird that modern women want to do this whole, 50-50 thing, or this whole like, oh, nah, I don't want to do what he wants me to do, blah, blah, blah. I ain't going to do what he says and stuff. But the thing is, you're trying to be part of his life. He built something, and then you're trying to dictate what he does with it. That makes no sense. He worked hard to create that. Just like if you created a company, you wouldn't like somebody who just came into the company, who just got hired. Let's say you hire somebody into your company. You wouldn't like that person to suddenly act like they're the boss, right? Tell you how to run your company. It's the same thing as being with a man. When you're with a man and you're in his life, you came into his life. You might see it opposite. Oh, no, he came into my life. No, you came into his life. You were just living your life. He created his. That's the difference. Always remember, men and women are different. Women, y'all exist. Y'all do whatever y'all are capable of doing within the confines of society, right? But men have to create what they have. Men have to earn what they have. Men have to earn who they are, their identity. Y'all have your identity. You're a woman. Y'all could be anything that y'all want to be, right? You could be single, right? You could be in a relationship. You could be somebody's wife, right? You could be, your boss babe, right? You could be, you could be whatever you want, right? That was the whole idea. Feminism was options. Not about being equal to a man. That's nonsense. It's about options. Options so that way you can do the things you want to do. So you can make decisions of, do you want to be a cat lady, right? A career woman, boss babe, right? A bachelorette, or, where you just, I'll say the whole life, or a wife, a mother. You know what I mean? The idea is that y'all have options of what y'all can become. Doctors, lawyers, president of the United States of America, whatever, right? You have all these options of what you could become, right? Or let me rephrase that, of what you can do. Men, they have to create their life, right? They have to create their identity. They have to create what they are going to be. So if they want to be the CEO of a company, well, they have to, typically just create the company, usually from scratch, or outperform some other guy and take over the company and be the better choice for running the company than some other guy. So competitively, right? And then there's sports and many other things that guys can do to create a life for themselves. There's some guys out there that can create a life from their hobbies, video games and stuff like that, right? So when you come into a man's life, you're coming into his life. He created it. Your life is whatever was available, right? Whatever came into your life, whatever opportunities you took advantage of, that's your life. Good for you. You got to live that life. But once you get with a man, you're now in his world. You're in his life. And if he built something like literally, he created an empire, right? Where he has all these resources, private jets, house, cars, companies, memberships and elite groups and stuff like that, and the list goes on, then you're in his world. You're in his kingdom. You're supposed to respect it as such, not to come in acting like you're in charge. Like all of that he built is yours. It's like, no, that's his. And you're, it's his world, and you're just in it. That's how that works. And that's why it's so weird, to see that dynamic that modern women behave. They act like when they come into a guy's life, they're supposed to be there to take over. It's like I work hard to make money, buy a car, I'm driving, I see an attractive woman, I'm like, hey, want to go on a date? Want me to give you a ride somewhere? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff, right? Like, and then she agrees to get in the car, but then she tells me to get out of the driver's seat because she's going to drive, and for me to get in the back seat or something. Like, what? But it's my car, not yours. So, of course, I'm not going to get out of the driver's seat. And that's how it is with a man's life. That's why it's an issue when women want to dictate how men live their lives, when it's like, whoa, he created his life, right? So if you want to be part of it, great. jump on board and enjoy the ride. But don't come into his life trying to dictate. It is his life that you're coming into, not the other way around. You could have stayed in your life. You could have stayed benefiting from all the benefits of all the options you have that society has given you, because that's what y'all, that's what women, in the 60s and whatnot fought for, right? Fought for the ability to just live, just to do whatever they want and not have to be adhere to, tradition, right? The standard model of male and women dynamics, right? Relationships. It's like, you know what? I don't have to be a wife. I could be a single woman till the day I die. Yeah, you could. Is that a great life? Is that guaranteed to be a great life? Not necessarily. It's going to be a lot of hardship. It's going to be hard work and whatnot. There's probably going to be a lot of regrets, a lot of mistakes made. But hey, whatever. You chose the path. You chose the path of individuality. Then so be it. But men don't choose individuality, right? By default, men are individual, and then they have to earn their place in society. That's the difference, right? Women, by default, are like, all right, you're an individual, do what you want. Just, don't break laws and stuff like that, but do what you want. Men is like, you gotta do something. You gotta learn some skills. You gotta build something. You gotta make money. You want women to like you, get a car, a house, money, get this and that. That's why you hear stuff about guys, talking about what they have. They have money, they have house, cars, this, that, and third. This is because they're supposed to have these things because they obtained them, because they worked hard for it. Because that's what makes them who they are, is that they have these things. These things defines them as who they are. While women is like, well, you just need to be a woman, right? You just need to be willing to get along with the opposite sex, and you're good. Men gotta earn things. Men gotta prove themselves in society to be worthy of being part of society, right? To even be with a woman and to have a life and make kids and this and that in college and school and college and all this stuff, and reproducing, making kids helps out the society, helps out the community. That's why it's important, the male and female dynamic. That's why it's important that we have women that choose to be wives, because the whole idea of feminism was choice, not the absence of tradition, right? Not the absence of being a wife or a mother. It was about the choice that if you are not best suited for the role of wife and mother, then there's options. There's other things, other paths you can choose. But first and foremost, you were supposed to learn how to be a wife, how to be a mother. And then after that, education, right? After that knowledge being attained, then you can go do whatever else you want. If you decide, like, I want to be a lawyer, all right, then go be a lawyer. But at least you know how to cook and clean and how to take care of other human beings. Obviously, take care of yourself, good hygiene, right? And among many other useful skills that you will learn from being raised to be a wife/mother. These skills will be helpful in life, even in careers that you choose. So that's why it's ironic that feminism over time started erasing the feminine part of feminism, right? Start taking away the feminine part and just make it where it's like the only options you have as a woman, as a feminist, is work, independence. What? That doesn't sound like choice. That doesn't sound like options. That sounds like it sounds like you replace one path for another, one choice for another. That's it. You replace a traditional lifestyle, men and women, a wife, mother scenario, for a career, a job, which I'm gonna say it, slavery. You chose slavery over, well, I'll put it this way, because most modern women want to see it this way, right? You chose slavery over servitude. Let's put it that way. Let's put the mother-wife thing as servitude. You serve others, right? You serve the greater good. You benefit other people, not just yourself, right? You're selfless, not selfish. While, the slavery route was like, well, you wanted money, so now it's time for you to give up your life, right? Your time, which is your life, and convert it into cash that you use on materialistic things that don't matter and only perpetuates the idea that you got to go back to work to make more money so you can have more of this materialistic shit that don't really even matter. That gives you temporary happiness. Think about it. All this materialistic stuff makes women happy. Of course it does. And what is happiness? An emotion. And what is an emotion? Chemicals. What is chemicals? Another word for chemicals is, or a combination of chemicals is what? Drugs. Drugs are made of chemicals. And what these chemicals do to a human being? They cause effects. What are these effects? Things that you feel. What are feels? Things that you feel? Feelings, right? So happiness is a drug. So buying materialistic things makes you happy, AKA drug. So you're going to work so you can buy drugs, AKA stuff that makes you happy, because happiness is drugs. And you're always constantly high on happiness, always constantly trying to get your next fix, your next paycheck, so you can buy more things to make yourself happy. Happy, 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 happy. Don't you notice that pattern? Y'all getting addicted to happiness. And that's as bad as being addicted to crack cocaine. But I'm not going into the whole, conspiracy and politics of the world right now. Just trying to point something out. There's like, the unfortunate side effect of modern day feminism is that y'all have actually less choices. There's women out here that's like, yeah, I don't want to work. I want to be a wife. I want that option. Exactly. Hallelujah, baby girls. Hallelujah, ladies. Y'all finally said the right word. Y'all want that option because y'all realize it was taken away from y'all. Y'all don't have the option to be a wife and a mother like y'all used to, right? Y'all used to have that as an option, right? You were either a cat lady or you were a wife. Those were the two options. But then after that, obviously they wanted to give you more options. Where you could be a career woman, you could be the president, a CEO, this and that. You could be an astronaut, right? All these extra options. But once they gave you all these extra options, one of the options disappeared, which was being a wife. Being a wife wasn't a bad option. It's just that it was the most common option, right? You either was a wife or a cat lady, aka a single woman that, didn't have kids, didn't have long-lasting relationships, and you just worked mostly. What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like a modern woman? Work, animals, cat. Now it's cat/dog, so technically it's cat/dog ladies now. And relationships not working out too long or even at all, to the point that you're alone and you die. If you're okay with that, then you're okay with it, right? That's your choice. That's your prerogative. But if you didn't want that outcome, that's not the choice you would have picked. Then that's why it's important to have all your options. I'm not saying you got to be a wife or a mother. What I'm saying is you should have that option to be able to be a wife or a mother. And what I see on the internet a lot is the fact that, well, two things is there's women who want that option but don't have it, and then there's women who are against it. But what's ironic is they never experienced it. They don't know what it feels like to be a wife and a mother, in the proper sense anyway, right? In the proper sense. So since they don't have that experience and knowledge of being a wife and a mother the proper way, of course they're going to be against it because they don't know anything about it, right? They're inexperienced when it comes to being a wife and a mother. Therefore, they can't, most of these women are either the eldest female of the family, or they just, grew up with a single mom. So for them, being a single woman was the only option because they weren't raised to be, they weren't raised to have being a wife/mother as an option. They didn't have, a mother who was in a successful relationship, a marriage, right? Or just relationship that, that she can learn from. So she didn't have nothing to learn from, so that means she has one less option. It's no different than if you end up on an island and you didn't learn how to survive, right? You didn't learn island survival skills, like how to fish and hunt and cook and purify water and make shelter and make weapons and spheres and things of that nature. Make a raft so you could potentially get off the island. You weren't taught these things. Since you weren't taught these things, you don't have these things as an option, which means once you're on the island, your options are very, very low, which means your survival rate on that island is very, very low. And it's the same thing with society. The less options you have in society, the harder life is going to be. So all I'm saying is, ladies, make sure, even if you don't want to be a wife, you don't want to be a mother, still learn how to be a wife, how to be a mother. There's videos out there. Go on YouTube, learn it. I'm not saying you got to, go talk to your mom and grandma and stuff like that and get advice from them on how to be a wife, learn how to be a wife and a mother. Not saying you can't. If that's the route you want to go for it. We can just go on YouTube, read ebooks or something. There's tons of books that are old as hell that has to do with being a wife and a mother and stuff like that, and just go get educated. There's probably a whole bunch of videos on TikTok on how to be a wife, how to be a mother, from women who are wives and mothers. Go get that education, right? Y'all had no problem learning how to be a doctor, a lawyer, how to be, how to work in an office, how to do stuff. I had no problem learning stuff for work. It shouldn't be a problem to learn stuff for being a wife, for being a mother. Because what's ironic, right, is that men, and I'm one of them, right? I'm traditional, but even I knew that, things are changing, and I had to, be a little bit more of a modern man, so to speak, that I had to learn how to cook. I made sure that I learned how to cook. Not only that, I made sure my brothers also learned how to cook, and my sisters, of course, but that was always default. They were supposed to always learn cooking and cleaning, but I made sure that the boys, my brothers, learn how to cook and clean, how to take care of themselves, right? It'd be great if they, get a girlfriend or wife or something like that to, to handle the cooking and cleaning for them, right? But why not learn how to do it for yourselves? Because what if she can't cook? What if she can't clean? Not because she doesn't have the skills, but I'm saying, what if she can't because maybe she's pregnant? So it might not be a good idea for her to be in the kitchen while she's pregnant. Might not be a good idea for her to be cleaning while she's pregnant, as an example. Or she could just be sick, right? She could have a flu or something. Might not be a good idea to have her do housework while she's sick, so you can, pick up the slack, right? And be in that type of relationship where y'all take turns doing stuff. That's all I'm saying. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say, right? 2 people washing dishes is better than 1. But a dishwasher is 10 times better, right? But that's the thing. It's like things have changed so much that even being a wife is more of a title, less of a responsibility. If you really pay attention, ladies, y'all have washing machines. Y'all don't have to wash dishes. So I said washing machine. I meant dishwasher. Dishwasher. You have washing machines, so you don't have to wash clothes the hard way. You have a washing machine. There's even cleaning services. You can just put all the dirty clothes into bags and then send it off to somebody. They'll wash it for you and then bring it back. Boom, easy peasy. So right now, the way things are technologically, you are not, as a wife, even as a mother, you're not a worker, right? You don't have to do everything. You're more of logistics, which means you manage import exports, right? You manage what goes in and out. So basically, you're in shipping and receiving. That's the business term, shipping and receiving. You ship out dirty laundry and you wait to receive it, right? It comes back and then you put it away. Oh, instead of you cooking, you order food, right? So delivery, right? You receive, you order out the food and you wait for it to get delivered. And anything you order on Amazon, same thing, right? You receive it, ship and receive it, ship and receive it. That's all you're really going to be doing as a wife, most often than not, is shipping and receiving. That's your job in the family, in the corporation known as a family, right? That's your job in one of your responsibilities in the corporation that y'all call a family is shipping and receiving. You're going to be doing a lot less manual labor because you can always outsource a lot of the manual labor, right? If something breaks in the house, you're just going to go call somebody to come and fix it. right? Just like if somebody breaks into the house, you're gonna call somebody to come and fix it, right? You're gonna call the cops or something like that, right? And have somebody, you know, fix the issue. Oh, that also reminds me, I might as well just throw this into this podcast. Ladies, definitely try to have people you can count on that's in your neighborhood, that specifically men, that could help you in problematic situations. You know what I'm saying? For example, if someone breaks into the house, obviously get to safety, you know, lock yourself in the bathroom or something with a cell phone, and instead of immediately calling the cops, this is my suggestion, because it'll be faster, is for you to call, you know, for a neighbor, right? Call for somebody who can help you. Because one, while they can come and try to help you, especially if they're in a position where, you know, they can really, really help you, right, in that type of situation, they also can, you know, call the cops in the process. They can make sure that law enforcement is on its way, but they are the first response, which is what I'm trying to say. It's like, you know, that's why the idea of like neighborhood watch is nice. So the ability for you to call neighborhood watch and let them know that you're in danger, then the cops get called. That way you have two lines of defense. You have neighborhood watch coming to your rescue, and then of course the police, right? So that's the little advice I want to give for the ladies. Oh, well, first and foremost thing I always tell women to do, and I definitely teach this to my sisters, or any female in my life, self-defense. You need to learn to defend yourself. Personal self-defense is top priority regardless, right? Whether you're a man or a woman, you need to learn self-defense. I know how to defend myself. I got martial arts training and I'm ex-military, so I'm good defense-wise. Yes, if I need the police or friends to back me up in a life or death situations, I got that. But first and foremost, I got myself. I'll defend myself. I got me, and vice versa. Of course, I'll defend my wife and kids, right? My family. So I'm their line of defense, right? Just like I'm on my own line of defense. That's why I expect females to also learn self-defense, so that way they're their own line of defense. And then, of course, you have all these extra contingencies like neighbors and police. You know, if you live in an apartment building, definitely try to make sure you have some type of connection, like a direct line to security, or maybe a specific security officer that you know is, you know, a little bit more reliable, right? Where as soon as you contact them, they'll be quick to provide you assistance, right? That kind of stuff. Just wanted to throw that out there because very important. I want ladies to be safe, and most importantly, safety always starts with you. Take care of your health, take care of your body, right? Your body, your choice, ladies, remember that. So, which means you should choose martial arts training, right? You should choose self-defense and protect yourself. Stop being out here in the world talking about life is dangerous, yet you put no effort to protect yourself, no effort to be safe. Be safe. You're on a dangerous planet. If we put you on Mars or Venus or some other planet, you think you're gonna be any safer? No, you're gonna be in harsh environments. There's gonna be dangers. What if there's aliens on there and they wanna attack you? You need to learn to defend yourself, period. It's not just, oh, men are bad and I gotta defend and I gotta avoid them. No, you need to be able to defend yourself if something happened. Plus, men are not the only threat the women face. They face threat from other women, environments, animals, you know, life. Life is hard, right? So you're already dealing with a lot. So make sure that you are capable of defending yourself against a lot of this stuff, period, first and foremost. That's why you got cooking clean is important for yourself, not just because of a man or a relationship. No, cooking clean is important for yourself, period. I've noticed women in the past, 10 plus years, they're not as clean as they used to be. So your hygiene has gotten worse. It became more close to the level of a man's level of hygiene. And the irony is that men are always supposed to improve their hygiene, and women were always the ones encouraging them to do so. But then now it's ironic that women's hygienes are not as good as they used to be. So make sure you're good. Make sure your environment is good. Your house and home, your neighborhood. Make better decisions, ladies. because I believe in it. I agree in the idea that y'all can do great things. The problem is, what I've seen past 10, 20 plus years, is that y'all haven't. You haven't done the things that y'all say y'all do, right? You haven't proved that, one, that you're equal to men. That's the first thing y'all haven't proved, that you're equal to men. And secondarily, definitely haven't proven that you're above a man. Like, you can, the old song, oh, I can do anything you can do, and I can do it better type thing. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a cute song and all, but realistically, no. I'm still waiting for women to be doing better than men, making better decisions, creating better things, making the world a better place. That I want in the next 10, 20 years to be able to say, yeah, women are awesome. They did awesome shit. But right now, that's not the case. Right now, it's like, yep, men are awesome because men create shit. Men did shit. Life is awesome because of men. I can't say it's because of women. I'm still waiting for women to do awesome shit so we can say life is awesome because of women. You know what I mean? So start improving, ladies. Start teaching each other, how to be better. How to manage money better. Stop buying things off of emotion. Buy things logically, right? Pick better men, right? Learn self-defense. Be creative and try to be, flexible in more ways than one, right? In the bedroom, just saying. Be open to certain ideas. I think I did mention the idea of the whole sex toy thing, but you could bring in a sex doll for like a threesome type scenario. So that way you're not bringing in an actual female. You could just bring something female-like, female equivalent, and then go with that. So that's what I'm trying to, put into people's ideas and minds. Is like, hey, you could try different things like costumes, like I said, sex dolls, sex toys, things of that nature, of different sizes and whatnot, and colors. And that way y'all can, experiment and have fun and, be intimate and, have a nice, long-lasting relationship, which should be the ultimate goal, is for the relationship to last long. And that's if you're obviously in a relationship, which is what this is about. This is about if you want to be a wife / mother / grandmother, right? These are the things you gotta take into consideration. These are the things you gotta learn. You gotta make the relationship work. Ultimately, it's on to women to make a man and woman relationship work. Yes, a man has to put in effort to stand there. Yes, I agree. And that's the thing. If he's not doing his part, then he doesn't deserve to have you, right? And you just move on to the next guy who will do his part. And all I'm saying is make sure you do yours. Make sure you learn how to be a wife, how to be a mother. So that way, when you're with the right guy, with a great guy who's doing his part, y'all can live happily ever after. And that should be the goal, is to live happily ever after. Because both are doing their parts, right? You definitely should be with a man who already is doing what he should be doing, instead of getting with a guy and then trying to make him do what you think he should do. Get with a guy that's already doing it. That way you don't have to, expect him to do anything other than being himself, because being himself should be what you want. Who he is should be what you're looking for. That's the idea of having standards. If you have standards, ladies, those standards are supposed to guarantee you the right guy. You shouldn't be out here in society saying, oh, I got standards, but you've been with 30 plus guys and none of them lived up to your standards. None of them were worthy to stay in a long-term relationship with, which proves your standards is false, fake, or just flawed. So you might want to change your standards to standards that actually work, that actually get you the outcomes you want. That's all I'm saying. And that's the end of the podcast.